Olamide could almost hear Esu's smooth, mocking laughter echoing in his mind. It was only Wednesday, but somehow his week had packed in more surprises than the last 5 years combined. This time though, the gods weren't responsible. While he had no idea of the women's relationship, he knew whatever connection they had couldn't be good. Judging by Mrs. Ajayi's overzealous handshake, Olamide knew his life was about to get complicated. Olamide was about to flee into the office when Mrs. Ajayi sighted him. Waving her hands, she beckoned him over, saying, "This is Olamide, one of our staff, and Olamide, this is Miss Obi, the owner of our establishment." Olamide couldn't describe the feelings going through his body as he shook Ada's hands. The only thing he was sure of was how it felt like a lie, that they had to pretend they hadn't met some moments before. They say, the truth will set you free. But in that car park, the truth wrapped itself around Olamide like a noose and pulled tight. The office was always usually chaotic, like a danfo bus on a Monday morning. But today, it was pandemonium disguised as professionalism. Everyone knew the owner was here. Kunle was pissed especially, and he chanted, "Why didn't they tell us the big boss was coming?" Like a broken record as they arranged his table, Olamide watched him close 5 tabs of Facebook and push his chair against the drawer to muffle the sound of a still playing movie. However, Olamide flopped in his chair. He felt too dumb to stand or arrange his messy table. He was starting to feel better when Mrs. Ajayi walked into the office with Adaora. It was better enough to clock the very fake smile on Mrs. Ajayi's face. It wasn't a common occurrence for the older lady to smile. It was very strange. It seemed if kissing up were an Olympic sport, Mrs. Ajayi would be Nigeria's gold medalist. Also, the room transformed from organized chaos to a scene from a telenovela. Olamide watched his other colleagues play the role of good workers within seconds. There were exaggerated gestures, whispers, and hurried attempts at professionalism. For instance, Kunle tried to adjust his tie and almost choked himself. After Mrs. Ajayi introduced Adaora to them, the latter walked calmly through the office, her heels clicking softly against the floor. She stops occasionally to glance at workstations and exchange polite greetings with everyone. There are 2 types of employees in a crisis: those who act fast to be organized, and those few who become part of the debris, like Dotun, who was trying to straighten a towering pile of files. It toppled over just as Adaora passed by. Papers scattered everywhere. Olamide continued to take in the unusual sight of seriousness playing out in front of him. The office, usually chaotic, had transformed into a stage for overacted professionalism. He was sure one of them was pretending to be on a call, like BC, who was shouting into the phone. There was no way that was a real call. BC was too in control. The customer would have said something so negative that her expression would have soared at some point if the call had been real. It suddenly occurred to Olamide that he had to look busy too. Olamide prayed for a call, an angry customer, a wrong number, anything to be busy. His wishes were unanswered, and as soon as Adaora got to Olamide, he committed the biggest mistake of his life: to look busy. He typed rubbish on his computer, hoping the lady would walk by. Nope. She stopped at Olamide's desk, peering at his screen. Olamide panics. Adaora said pleasantly, "Hard at work, I see." Olamide stammered, Yes. Resolving a customer escalation right now." Adaora looked at him, disappointed, before she said, "Good to hear. Keep up the energy." After Adaora walked by, Mrs. Ajayi whispered to him, "What are you doing? Stop typing nonsense. Just smile and nod if she talks to you again." At that moment, Olamide realized that all he would ever be to Adaora was one of her employees. He had seen Adaora smile before, but not like this. This was a professional smile. It was a barrier that said, "You are one of them, not one of me." And that hurt more than he cared to admit.